Hi, in this video we're going to look at the basics of what you can customize in your own Google channel. So to start with, you want to make sure that you're logged in. You want to switch to your channel, the channel that you would like to make edits to, knowing that you can have multiple channels. And then from there, you want to click on My Channel. Okay, so now you're off that main YouTube page and you're into your own channel. You can see that the channel by default has certain things. This menu will always be the same. This is the home screen. There's not much on this particular one. And then there's a place that shows videos that you've uploaded, playlists if you've created any, featured channels. So you're in your channel, but if there are other people that you follow, channels that you want to present to your users for them to visit, you would add those here. There's a discussion section and an about, and you can see that there's not much in any of these places yet. And notice there's also a column showing popular channels. This is a YouTube feature, so YouTube is deciding what popular channels are, and they're putting this into your page. Now you can choose to disable this if you want, but then what's going to happen is it's going to keep your channel from being recommended. Okay, so it kind of takes you out of that whole social aspect of it, and I think in most cases that's perfectly fine. If you were looking to build a brand or build a channel, you might want to keep that in, but if you're presenting information to your students, it's an educational environment, you know who your users are, then it's not necessary to have this here, and it may be safer not to have it here. It gives you a little more control over what's displayed. Okay, in order to make changes to this, you simply click on Customize Channel. I'm going to give you an overview in this video, and we'll get into more detail in future videos. But you can see if I mouse over the top, this is called channel art. And if I mouse over it, you can see that I get an edit option here and here. Now in a previous video we looked at this. If I click on it, it's going to bring me to this area where I can basically upload a picture that I've created, or I could use my webcam if I want to take a picture of myself. And then this becomes the icon that's presented when I log in. It becomes the icon in this over the top of the channel art, and there are several other places where you're going to you see this as well. It's going to get associated with your photos, your Google Plus account, etc. Okay, the other photo and the major photo up here is this channel art photo. So if you click here, you have two options. You can edit the links or the channel art. So when I click channel art, it's just going to bring me to a place again where I can upload photos. I can come to an area with my photos, things I've already uploaded. I can go to a gallery of things that Google has provided. It's very limited, but it's something, if you wanted to get started quick, you could choose something here. There you go. It's going to bring you to a screen that shows you what it looks like in different environments. So on a television, you're going to see the big picture. On a phone, you're going to see this small banner across the top and slightly wider one on a desktop. You can adjust the crop of your image here, so it's going to keep it in the right proportions, but you can determine, what part of the picture you actually want to capture there. And come back to device preview, and you can see that adjusts as well. So if I say select, you can see that image has now changed here. The other thing that can be adjusted on the channel art are links. So if you go to edit links, it's actually going to bring you to the About tab, but down at the bottom you're going to have a section for custom links. So you can tell it how many links you would like on top of the channel art, because you can put a whole series of links in here, but you don't have to display them all. So let's just say I only want 2, and then I'm going to click Add. I can put a link title in here, and then I would put a URL. And I would say done. Now Google, it picked up its own little icon there, and you'll notice that there's now a link over the channel art in the lower right hand corner. If I want to change that in any way, I have to mouse over it before the tool will appear. Then when I go to edit, you can see that I could adjust the address or the text to display over here. I can also trash it. At this point I can also add another one. So let's just say this is going to be Bing. And then again, it's picked up its own icon. It appears up here. And I can go back in and edit these at any time. If I were to add a third, okay, now I've got my third link up there, but it doesn't display. And the reason it doesn't display is that I had said simply to overlay the first two, not the third. So if I adjust that to 3 and say done, now I've got a third link up there. While we're on the About tab, let's take a look at a couple of other options you have. You can add an email address here. So if you were to add an email address here, it's going to tell you that visitors to the channel will have to solve a CAPTCHA in order to reveal your email address. So it's hidden so that bots and spiders just don't troll through here and start spamming you. A little bit of protection. You can pick a country if you'd like. And then there's also, the last thing in this About tab is a channel description. So this is a good idea as it provides some context to your users about what the channel itself is about. Okay, so this is just some nice documentation information that can be added to the site. I can go back to my Home tab. This is what users will see when they enter. You'll notice that there's featured channels over on the right. So if I had some channels that I particularly liked and thought would be useful to my viewers, I can add them here. So I don't have any yet. It says enter channel. It says enter channel username or URL, and so I'm probably going to want the URL. Just pop open here. And we'll say that yeah. I really like TED Talks, so I can go and I can, or this is TEDx, so I can simply take the channel. You'll notice in the address now it says channel, so this URL is a link to the channel itself instead of a particular video, and I could just paste that in there. Say add, and then it's going to show down here, and over here my users can see the featured channels, the ones that I would like to point them to or make available to them, call attention to. I have a couple of options here now. I can either edit this module, which is just going to bring me back to the same place, and I can continue to add channels, or I can come in here and I can delete them. You'll also notice that there's a block to move them. This is going to allow you to reorder when you have multiple entries in there. The other thing I can do at this point is I can remove the module altogether and say, you know, I don't want to include any featured channels in my site. So those are two options you have. You're also going to notice that down here you have popular channels. Now these are things that are determined by YouTube and are filtered in here for you, and this is currently enabled. If I click on it, I disable it, but it gives me a warning. It says that if I do this, it's going to prevent my channel from being recommended across YouTube on other channel pages. Okay, so it's really going to limit how much free press, if you want to call it that, how much connectivity with other sites that I get. But it all depends on what you want to do. If this is an area where you're simply providing content to your students and you're not concerned about that those larger connections, then it's perfectly okay to disable it. as a matter of fact, I think we said earlier that there are some advantages to that, because you don't really have control over which goes into popular channels, and sometimes it's nice to have that control. So disabling it is certainly an option. Okay, you can see in the main section now you do have an edit link, and you also have two views, one for subscribers, so people who have subscribed to your channel, and the other for new visitors as they come in. And we're going to take a look at this section in detail in the next video.